Imagine holding a flower in your hand, just a simple and fragile tulip. Now imagine looking at a luxury mansion on the most expensive street in Amsterdam. In the year 1637, you could trade that flower for that entire house. This is not a fairy tale and it is not a metaphor, it is the story of the tulip mania. It remains the most insane financial bubble in human history. To understand how an entire nation lost its mind, we must look at the Dutch Golden Age. The Netherlands, in the 1600s, was the center of the world. Their ships ruled the oceans and their merchants were drowning in money. They had everything money could buy, from spices to silk. But the wealthy needed something new to show off their status. They needed something that their neighbors did not have. Enter the tulip. This flower was brought from the Ottoman Empire and it was unlike anything Europeans had seen. It was intensely colorful and it seemed to defy nature. At first, having a tulip garden was just a harmless hobby for the super rich. But then something strange happened to the flowers. A mysterious virus attacked the bulbs and created beautiful flame-like patterns on the petals. They called this the mosaic virus, but back then they thought it was magic. These patterned tulips became rare and scarcity creates value. Suddenly everyone wanted one. It started with the aristocrats, but greed is a contagious disease. Soon the middle class joined in. Merchants sold their businesses to buy bulbs, carpenters sold their tools. Even chimney sweeps entered the market hoping to get rich quick. By 1636 the demand was so high that people stopped trading the actual flowers. They began trading contracts for future flowers that were still in the ground. This was the birth of the futures market. They called it the wine trade because money was changing hands for literally nothing but air. Let's talk about the prices because they are hard to believe. The most famous bulb was called the Semper Augustus. It was red and white with stunning stripes. One single bulb of Semper Augustus was sold for 5,500 guilders. To put that in perspective, a skilled carpenter earned about 250 guilders a year. So one flower was worth 20 years of salary. You could buy 12 acres of land, or for fat oxen or 8 pigs just for one root. There is a famous story from that time about a sailor. He saw a bulb sitting on a merchant's counter and thought it was an onion. He ate it with his herring for breakfast. That sailor unknowingly ate the equivalent of a modern-day yacht. He was thrown in jail for eating a breakfast worth a fortune. The mania reached a point where people believed the price would never go down. They thought the whole world would pay these prices forever. But every bubble has a breaking point. It happened in Haarlem on a cold Tuesday in February 1637. A bulb auction started just like any other day. A seller offered a pound of bulbs for a high price. Silence filled the room. No one did. He lowered the price. Still silence. He lowered it again, and panic set in. The spell was broken. Everyone realized at the exact same moment that it was just a flower. It had no utility. You could not build with it. You could not eat it. Panic spread faster than the plague across the Netherlands. Within days the prices crashed by 90%. People who went to bed as millionaires woke up owing debts they could never pay. Contracts worth thousands became worthless pieces of paper. The courts were overwhelmed because nobody could enforce the payments. The government tried to intervene, but you cannot fix a loss of faith. Rich merchants lost their estates. Ordinary families lost their life savings. The Dutch economy, which was the strongest in the world, took a massive hit. But the most interesting part is what happened afterwards. Did we learn our lesson? Did humanity decide never to speculate on useless things again? Absolutely not. We did the same thing with the South Sea Company a century later. We did it with the dot-com bubble in the late 90s. And many economists argue we are doing it right now with digital assets. The tulip mania teaches us a brutal lesson about human psychology. Value is not real. Value is only what the next person is willing to pay. If everyone agrees that a stone or a digital monkey or a flower is worth millions, then it is. But the moment that belief disappears, the wealth evaporates into thin air. The Dutch recovered eventually, but the stories of ruined families lasted for generations. So the next time you see a hype train leaving the station, ask yourself one question. Are you buying value, or are you just buying a tulip? Because history shows that when the music stops, someone is always left holding the empty bag. If you want to understand the next big crash, you have to study the first one. Subscribe to Hidden Logic as we uncover the history of money and power. Leave a comment below and tell me what you think is the modern-day tulip. Is it crypto? Is it real estate? Or is it AI stocks? I will see you in the next video, where we discuss the man who lost a fortune despite being a genius.